Welcome, exiles, to the Huntress, taming beasts, being able to ride a Rhoa, and that's going to be a new skill for everyone, and shooting out cyclones of ice, lightning, or fire, while also having the opportunity to do a complete bleed build, parry enemy strikes. Oh boy, there's so much to tell you. Your main two skills will be Whirling Slash. You create this whirlwind around you, and it gets bigger the more you do on the spot. If you then leave this Whirling Slash, boom, it'll explode. Pretty much dash into an opponent, Whirling Slash, keep moving, vap, they die. That's step number one. Your second ability is a ranged option where you're shooting twisters forward. And now comes the interesting combination of these two. If you do your Whirling Slash around you and then shoot the twisters out, they'll be multiplied by the Whirling Slash. This gets followed up by your Bugler. Yep, we can now parry from this point on. Boop, you parry it, and they're getting primed for a counterattack that will do devastating damage. The problem with parrying too much will be that enemies are continuously beating you down and you'll actually get stunned and land on your knees. So use the parry smartly and not just spam it. That's the very basic of the Huntress. You do have elemental spears too, like the Chain Lightning Spear or an Explosive Spear. Now, the Explosive Spear at first seems taking quite a while to get off, which is not too amazing. But there's a way to empower them though with Frenzy Charges. If you parry and kill an opponent, you get a Frenzy Charge.
All spear throws on the Huntress can also be empowered by Frenzy Charges. For example, Explosive Spears will do an even larger explosion and leave fire on the ground. And these empowered versions can activate even more combos. Using Whirling Slash over ground fire will suck it into the whirlwind, adding fire to the explosion. Using twisters inside a fire whirlwind will shit out fire tornadoes as well.
You heard right. And that goes for every single element. If you find a way to make frozen ground, you'll shoot out frozen tornadoes. If you make shocked ground, you shoot out lightning tornadoes.
And you can do similar combos with ice and lightning too.
The Herald of Ice, Ash, Thunder, Super Huntress, igniting, firebombing, among other things. That would be the tri-elemental fun that is potentially possible, or just focus on one element, or just do the Herald of Ice plus Herald of Thunder that the monk is pretty much doing. Alone that Whirling Slash and the Whirlwinding, that's few of the 20 plus skills the Huntress is getting. There's another archetype though that I'm way more excited for, and that would be the Bleed Huntress. And we're getting 100 new support skills, 100 and 100 new mid to end game uniques, which also boost bleed. Yes, finally.
Now, a key aspect of hunting is exhausting your foes by causing blood loss. This skill is Rake, which dashes towards your target and unleashes a deadly slash, opening up wounds on your enemies. Follow up with Disengage and watch them bleed out as they run towards you.
Not too exciting yet, but wait for it.
On the health bar of monsters, you can see
how much bleed they have. Top. Finally, it's visual. You bleed them, and you notice they do actually have a significant amount of bleed. You don't have to guess for it anymore.
How much blood loss the enemy has experienced, and the Huntress has skills to take advantage of this. For example, using Blood Hunt will thrust forward and cause a bloody explosion. The more blood loss, the bigger the explosion. If you want to cause bigger bleeds, try out Rapid Assault. The final hit of this multi-hit combo will stick a spear into your enemy.
Against bosses, we're just assaulting them, I guess, and we're stabbing them to stick spears into them. Then there's a spear jump that can explode any spear in your vicinity or stuck in the opponent. We can finally see the blood loss on our opponents, dash in, and then explode them too. And there'll be support gems that, for example, create hemo crystals. Hemo crystals will be formed out of an opponent and explode with the rest amount of bleed they have in an area of effect, going for devastation throughout the battlefield.
For a big bleed. Now, Explosive Spear and Rapid Assault both result in leaving spears behind, either in the ground or in enemies. But there are other skills that leave spears around too, like Storm Lance, that leaves an electrical spear that arcs towards enemies. But what can you do with all these spears? Detonate them, of course. thunderous leap will allow you to jump onto and explode any spears either in the ground or in your enemies.
Make a field of spears with whatever abilities you wish to, and then explode everyone around you. Could even prepare this for a boss. And if you see the boss spawning, or if you know that something comes out in essence, you create a field of spears, and then with one whoop, you just have this massive effect of super critting. Makes me wonder if you could play a blood mage fully on crit that will then be a huntress with a lot of life. This was all different attack combos. Now to the taming.
As hunting animals, the Huntress also has the ability to work with them. While fighting any beast, you have the ability to tame it and use it as a companion. You can only have one companion at a time, but it will keep the mods that were on it. Try to find a rare beast with good mods to take full advantage of your ability to tame them.
Now they say a rare beast. Can I not resummon humanoids? Is it only going to be beasts, monkeys, dragons, drakelings, undead? What does count as beasts? Still though, amazing. Just getting your own little beast companion like this as a passive skill? Sure, why not? Now these were just some of the skills the Huntress will have. There is 20 new skills coming. Way more combinations possible. But I do believe you get a feeling for the playstyle that we see. Blood explosions, lightning overwhelming with the Herald of Thunder, ice winding and going crazy, shooting a pillar of lightning from the sky. GGG cooked. We're also getting 2 ascensions with the Huntress. The first one is the Ritualist, and the second one would be the Amazon. The Amazon already very much looks like it's going to be the Invoker Monk, with tri-elemental or double elemental blasting.
Well, the first Ascension class you could choose is the Ritualist. The Ritualist has embraced the darker side of his merry traditions by harnessing the power of animal sacrifice and plague. The Corrupted Life Force skill causes all enemies around you to grow volatile blood boils on their skin. When those enemies are slain, the boils will burst, spreading corrupted blood to all enemies around them. The Ritualist also excels in...
That's behind me, and it says you get 1 ring slot that you wear around your neck. You can see this here, 3 ring slots. Just like that.
Taking advantage of magical trinkets. The Unfurled Finger skill allows you to equip an additional ring on a finger around your neck. Taking Mystic...
And with Mystic Attunement, you increase the value of what they do by 25%. Rings and amulets. You get a third one.
Attunement increases the bonuses of all the rings and amulets you have equipped. Now this is one of my favorites. As the Whispers Ask grants you a new skill, Ritual Sacrifice. Use the skill on the corpses of slain rare monsters to absorb the power in their blood to give you one of their modifiers for a short time.
I'm not sure how fun that is in the gameplay loop, because you gotta kill, then you get a stab, then you get it. It's a random. It's only a short amount of time here, 23 seconds. Maybe you can use like persistence to prolong the duration. But you're pretty much running around 30 seconds, then you gotta find the next opponent, stab it, and if there's nothing close by to stab, then you're not using your skill. It seems more like fun, gimmicky than like, this is it. Maybe I'm just doubting for now. We'll see. I mean, the first 2 are already great. Having another ring slot and boosting your rings alone, that will just straight up give you DPS. If you have rings that give you percentile more damage or even flat more damage, and then that gets multiplied up.
Specialize further into Ritualistic Sacrifice with As the Whispers Demand, which allows you to perform that skill on yourself instead of a corpse. Cut your own hand.
It says, Ritual Sacrifice can be used on yourself to remove 20% of maximum life to grant a random monster modifier. A maximum of 1 modifier can be granted this way. Which at least means that if there's a monster, you sacrifice it. And if there's no monster, you just get a random 1. But it's a random 1. It could be something good, I guess. Could be something terrible. I'm not too excited by that one.
Sacrificing some of your own blood to empower yourself. The Amazon Ascension is for those looking to hunt more than just beasts. Trained as an elite guard to the most important Asmeri elders, the Amazon will use more traditional fighting techniques mastered to perfection. The Predatory Instinct skill will cause you to reveal weaknesses in the defenses of rare and unique enemies.
Reveal weaknesses, and then 50% more damage against enemies with open weaknesses. The weaknesses are in the life bar. These red on red thingies. Which means that if you reach the red bar in the red bar, you'll do 50% more damage in that phase. Elites seem to have, or bosses seem to have, 2 big weaknesses usually. Not bad.
Causing you to deal more damage. You can see those weak spots represented on their life bars. While using Elemental Infusion, any charges you consume will infuse your weapon with elemental power.
Yes. When you consume a power charge, trigger Infuse Weapon to gain 2 Cold Infusion. When you consume an Endurance charge, trigger Infuse Weapon to gain 2 Fire Infusion. And when you consume a Frenzy charge, trigger Infuse Weapon to gain 2 Lightning Infusion. If we manage to continuously get Power and Frenzy charges, we could play Ice Lightning Herald without a single issue. And there are so many ways to get power charges. Hell, the Combat Frenzy skill that the Invoker Monk is using is just waiting for you to at least give you Frenzy charges, or to turn those Frenzy charges into power charges. Then you use the Lightning Spear that the Amazon has anyways, but that Lightning Spear can be easily cold infused. Oh, holy moly. Invoker Monk 2.0.
Causing any projectile attacks to explode on impact. The Critical Strike skill is as simple as it sounds. It takes your excess accuracy and gives it to you as Critical Strike charge.
Yes, 25% of access chance to hit with attacks is converted to additional critical hit chance. And accuracy can be boosted quite a lot over on the Ranger tree. There's many ways, especially percentile ways too, like get X% more accuracy, so on. Maybe you can finally boost that to the max. Not sure if this is going to be more useful than just taking critical strike chance notes.
Additionally, you have skills like Mystic Harvest, which allows your elemental damage to leech life.
Life Leech recovers based on your elemental damage as well as physical damage. Haha. And then?
And as Mary Brew to be
Life Flask also recover mana. Mana Flask also recover life. I mean, we're infusing our weapons with elemental damage by getting charges to then have our charges leech for us and heal us at the same time, or our potions to either or heal us. Yeah.
We'll use either flask to restore both life and mana. So those are the 2 new ascendancies for the Huntress.
Pretty damn epic. The Huntress is really showing up. Now, I said something about riding a Rhoa in the beginning, and that was introduced together with the Huntress, but it will be available for every single class.
Since we've been talking about summoning undead so much, let's have a change of pace and summon something a little more alive. In Dawn of the Hunt, we're adding the Summon Rhoa skill.
Harness a companion Rhoa that you can ride. While you're mounted on the Rhoa, you can only use bow attacks and thrown spear attacks, run at full speed when attacking, and hits against you cause heavy stun buildup. You can be thrown off the Rhoa and then you're most likely dead. But you can continuously ride around on it.
Summon your friendly Rhoa to aid you in combat as a minion. You can also mount your Rhoa in combat at any time, allowing you to move at full speed even while shooting arrows or throwing spears. Be wary though, if you take too much damage while riding your mount, you can be knocked off and get overwhelmed. It's worth keeping an eye on your stagger bar, as falling off the mount can mean almost certain death. On the topic of new ways to enhance your character, let's talk about support gems. Support gems are
interesting. Not crazy, but certainly interesting. This is a list of all the skills that we're going to get. We get the Disengage Rolling Slash Twister Explosive Spear, then Spear-Filled Lightning Spear, Fangs of Frost and Ray. Spearfield will create spears around you that arc outward. We get Barrage with Rapid Assault Stabbing, and then Storm Lance. That was the lance putting into the ground that arc outwards. Primal Strike, Glacial Lance, Bloodhunt, and Sniper's Mark. Then Thunderous Sleep, Bloodhound's Mark, and Tame Beast. I'd assume that the Bloodhound's Mark is there to boost the Blood build. With Whirlwind Lance, Elemental Thundering, then Wind Serpent's Fury, and the Spear of Solaris. That was the pillar of light you saw coming down in one of the video clips. A couple of archetypes and great builds already available. I'm quite excited to see which one performs better, bleed builds or the ice lightning kind of builds. It looks like we're getting tons of choice. We also get to throw an eye on 2 of the uniques the Huntress is going to get. Seta's Spear is going to add good damage from level 33 on already. That's fantastic. It says 20% chance to cause bleeding on hit. Then aggravating any bleeding with this weapon also aggravates all ignites on the target. A bleed ignite build, making the ignites hit harder, making the bleed hit harder, just chunking down the opponent like crazy. And then 10% chance to aggravate bleeding on hit. Cool. The buckler is increased evasion rating, then infinite projectile parry range, and 50% increased parried debuff duration. This allows you to, on any distance, parry any projectile. Kind of funny. Doesn't seem too useful at first glance. Got to start playing the Huntress to really figure out how well the parry also on distance work. Because if I parry on distance infinitely, the enemies are still getting primed for that counterattack. And then you dash in and do the devastating super explosions. This, for example, here is the Hemocrystal support gem. Supported attacks cannot cause bleeding. Supported skills consume bleeding on enemies they hit, and then they create hemocrystals. The hemocrystals themselves do damage equal to 8% of the expected remaining damage of the consumed bleed. Ergo, we hit someone that's bleeding, boom, crystals pop out, crystals explode, then we hit someone then we make them bleed, and then we hit them, and then crystals come out, and then the crystal... Kind of intriguing to probably go through enemies here, the crystals, boom, a lot of crystals. Especially it's 4 crystals per target. So if there's a lot of targets that you're hitting, then you're also creating a lot of crystals. Hit them with a rolling slam, and every enemy you hit made those hemocrystals. There will be some bleed fun to be had with all the classes. Don't worry, the new endgame features and everything will be covered here on the channel as well. This was for the Huntress introduction to get you hyped for her in the direction that you're absolutely pumped. There is the link to the live stream with timestamps in the description below for you to check out already everything ahead of time. But we'll have the TLDR in the next coming days. Thanks for watching. Have a fantastic good time.